Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner. Joining me today is Director Jack Markey of our Emergency Management Division. Welcome, Jack.
Good morning.
Well, thank you for being here. Can we start off by just having you share to our viewing audience a little bit about the Emergency Management Division and what you do?
Certainly. We're a somewhat unique division in county government. We seek to connect both citizens in distress who may need assistance through our Department of Emergency Communications. If they dial 911, they're contacting emergency management, and we then work to connect them to the other public safety agencies, whether they be municipal, county, state, or federal, that come through us. A second part of the division is our Emergency Preparedness Department, and there we focus on interagency coordination and communication, emergency planning efforts for hazardous materials response, public health purposes, all of the issues that the government may need to be prepared to respond to.
A natural disaster
Absolutely.
or a man-made incident.
And unfortunately, we have had experience with that, ranging from, the G8 summit back in 2012, Hurricane Isabel in our past, Sandy, certainly our Snowmageddon experiences. And so really our division exists to work both before, during, and after small events that may only affect one citizen, and then up to major events where we're bringing the full resources of municipal, county, state, and federal governments together and trying to have them work on the same page of music together. And of course that's a challenge because we have different priorities, we have different programs, we have different leadership, and so we seek to try to get the most value from those relationships and to make sure they are strong relationships before the emergency happens.
Well, that takes a lot of planning, and I think it's important for our citizens to know that we do plan. We plan regionally, we plan with our surrounding counties where we have mutual aid agreements, and a lot of practice and planning goes into making sure that government can function and that there will be support coming in if we do have a major incident. But my big question to you is, what's your message to the average citizen in our community about what they need to do to prepare?
The message is still consistent, that you are your own first responder. I mean, you make choices every day about what you do and how you talk to your children, your loved ones about emergencies. As we enter the busy summer season, we always want to talk about the challenges posed by flash flooding and hurricanes. Flash flooding is our #1 natural hazard in Frederick County, and unfortunately it's been one of the larger loss of life hazards in Frederick County, people trying to drive through flooded roadways. And so we really ask citizens to talk to their children when they're learning to drive, urge that upon family. There's nowhere you need to go that is so urgent that you should drive through a flooded roadway.
Well, it used to be, we talked about pretty much narrowly, fire emergency plans, that your family had a plan, what everybody would do if there was a fire in your home. And I think it's important that remind people that they still need to do that, but they also need to be prepared for other kinds of emergencies and to have food, some batteries so that they can get information on a portable radio, and to make sure that they've charged their phones and their other devices and that they're prepared if they are going to have to shelter in place for some period of time, which is really what we want people to do.
Absolutely. I think, the concept quite often turns to, well, should I evacuate? And the question is, what are you evacuating from and where are you evacuating to? Mm-hmm. So a lot of those conversations need to happen in a family before the emergency happens. If kids are home from school early and a storm rolls through, what should they do? The time to try to instruct them is not the day of the storm, it's long before that. So we work with Frederick County Public Schools and others to try to start that communication process early when the children are in school, and then provide information through partners like the Red Cross and others for those in the community, how to protect their businesses, how to protect their homes, and to have a conversation about, what are the practical things that you need to do And I think all the things that you mentioned are those things. Know what happens when power goes out. Know what happens when a windstorm or thunderstorm rolls through. What should you do? And that'll serve everyone in good stead, and it helps reduce everyone's risk.
It does. So I know if people are interested in finding out about emergency preparedness or about an incident that's happening in this county, they can sign up for Alert Frederick County. Can you tell people how to do that and what Alert Frederick County is?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Alert Frederick County is a service that, working cooperatively with our municipalities and our other partners, we established a notification system. It's called Alert Frederick County, where you can sign up, basically a text or email capable device, and at the citizen's choice, decide what kind of messages they want to receive. They could be anything from law enforcement alerts to public health bulletins or other types of information that we want to get in the hands of as many people as we can, as quickly as we can. And one of the reasons that became important to us is as people have evolved away from landline telephones, we really don't have a capability reliably to reach out and get a message to everyone. And in the old days, pre-smartphones, pre-cell phones, which hasn't been that long ago, although children will test our memories and say, there was a time before there were cell phones? Yes. 83% of our 911 calls come in over cell phones. So if we have information we need to put out in the hands of our citizens, it's not as simple as just trying to dial their home phone if there is a true life-threatening emergency in a community, whether that be a police action, a hazardous materials incident, or whatever. So we really encourage citizens to take the time, take a couple of seconds, and go to frederickcountymd.gov/alert. There is a link also on the county homepage, and sign up, and they can choose what types of alerts they want to receive. If it's a life-threatening alert, we'll push it out to you and give you instructions on what we need you to do to try to keep yourself safe.
So it's just like everything else people sign up for. You can get a notification on your phone, and you can know what's happening with an emergency in your community and get instructions and information.
Absolutely. It's another source of information. Again, it doesn't replace the media. It doesn't replace the more formal processes that government goes through. But when minutes and seconds count, it's a valuable tool to be able to put information out in coordination with our other partners. And if you live in one of our incorporated municipalities, we offer the service also to them, and many have picked it up, and we're working on rolling out enhancements and hope they all come online.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the transition from landlines to cell phones, and the large percentage, 83% of our calls are now on cell phones. So the newest thing is text to 911. Can you tell us a little bit about where we stand with text to 911?
Sure. We're proud that Frederick County, for over 2 years now, has been one of only a handful in the nation. Estimates right now from the FCC, about 5% of 911 centers in the nation can take a 911 message from a text-capable device and process it for assistance to a resident. In 2013, we rolled out the capability with Verizon phones only, and we're happy to be working in the final stages of bringing all of our carriers online, Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon Wireless within the next month. We'll have an event. We'll begin discussing an event about the general availability to raise awareness for the citizens. It's still true that we want people to call when they can, text if they can't. But we think it's going to be a valuable tool for our friends at Maryland School for the Deaf, who have long sought this capability, and it's part of why Frederick County's been aggressively pushing to be, one of the leaders in bringing this forward to assist the Maryland School for the Deaf and others with speech or hearing disabilities to be able to better access 911.
Can you talk a little bit about how many 911 calls you get in a year or in a month, and share with people the fact about how quickly you dispatch in response to that call? Because I think people need to understand how quickly that actually happens with our technology that we have today.
Absolutely. Frederick County is a unique center within the state of Maryland. We're the only center in the state of Maryland that takes 911 calls, and we do not transfer 911 calls unless they're to an adjacent jurisdiction, another county, another state. We have 8 counties and 4 states that surround us, so we have to maintain relationships with the 911 centers in those counties. If a cell phone initiates a call and gets misrouted to us, that we can hand it off to them. But within Frederick County, a call to any public safety agency within Frederick County comes through Frederick County's 911. That's about 110,000 calls a year. So we take those calls and hold on to those callers and provide support to those callers. We firmly believe that we don't want a citizen in distress to ever be handed off unnecessarily to another call taker. It's one of the innovations that our staff worked very hard on within the last several years to end the process of taking a call, getting enough information to determine who the agency is, and then handing that call electronically over to another agencies. And we work with our partners to say the value to the citizen is they talk to one person, they tell their story one time. As soon as we get the location, the call type, and know the agencies that need to be dispatched, we start dispatching. So often we get questions from citizens, why do you ask all these questions? Why all this, detail about colors of cars and, is the toaster smoking? Why don't you just send me the fire department? Why don't you just send me the police department? And the truth be told is,
it's already done.
It's already happening. And that was one of the values of us taking the 911 call and keeping that is as soon as there's enough information in our shared computer-aided dispatch system, the call pops up in a pending queue for a dispatcher that isn't on the phone, that's already starting the wheels rolling, starting to alert the volunteers, starting to alert the law enforcement agencies to roll. So a lot of cases, well, in all cases, before we're done talking to a citizen, help is already on the way. And we stay on the line with them as part of our call-taking protocol process, and we can actually talk them through self-assistance. So again, that's part of us asking the questions that we ask is we're trying to help citizens through what's often one of the toughest days of their lives. We are...
but the dispatch has already happened because
absolutely.
People need to know that call comes in, the call taker starts typing it out, automatically dispatches it, and continues to ask questions and share information so that the dispatch is very, very quick.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes people think if you keep asking them questions that you haven't actually dispatched, but you have.
That's correct. I mean, the most important thing is for us to get the location of the emergency, a callback number, and a general description of the emergency. From that, we can get a fix on the location. As quick as people think the location of cell phones are, it sometimes does take time to locate that through the cell towers and through GPS and those things. So when we ask you for the location, we need your best estimate of where you are, and we will continue working towards refining the location, refining the information about what is known. And as everyone knows, in the cases of a fleeting incident, what was the color of the vehicle, what was the description of the person, that really adds value on down the line.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me today, for sharing this information with our viewers. I want to ask you to extend my appreciation to all your staff. Our 911 call takers certainly are on the front line as first responders, or that first contact for an emergency, and we appreciate the work that they do. It's very critical. And for all the planning that you do to make sure that this county is prepared when our citizens are in need. So thank you for joining us today. I encourage you to sign up for Alert Frederick County and to be informed about emergency preparedness and to be prepared at home. Thank you for joining us.